Good morning, gorgeous ones. I'm in my bathrobe. I haven't quite had my shower yet, but I'm about to go and have it. I just needed to have coffee first and wait for all of you lovelies to get online. Today, I'm having a little chat about, well, two things actually. I'm going to talk about the concept of rebooting, and I'm also going to talk about the concept of coping. So, rebooting. Yesterday, I had two calls um, where the internet was rubbish and we kept freezing. And I'm thinking, is it mine? Is it theirs? The first call, I wasn't sure. The second call, I went, I think it must be mine. And I closed down all the browser windows and I'd done everything, but it still kept doing it. I thought, oh, this is annoying. So I just thought I'll press on off and reboot it. And it's been fine ever since. So quite I thought it's another good metaphor for life. When we find that we're glitching, that we're not, you're not being yourself, that you're struggling, you're stalling, you're just mucking around. Sometimes we need a little reboot. And so, for lots of us that comes in the form of a holiday. But it doesn't have to be a whole holiday. Good morning, Jacinta. Doesn't have to be a whole holiday. You can spend, it could be a morning. Okay, so a morning of rebooting would look something like going somewhere nice. Okay, hopefully in nature, not not looking at your phone for social media, just spending some time, just recalibrating. Obviously, for lots of us, we know we need to do rebooting, which is why we go on lovely holidays to nice warm spaces where we can just relax. That's what I'm doing next week. So I'm very much looking forward to what I would consider to be a well earned break, and I'm actually going to do a complete reboot. The second thing I want to talk about is what that glitching might look like. So for me, I know it becomes, I get more reactive, would be a great way to describe it. So something will happen and I'm suddenly very reactive to it. It might be, as an example, in my clinic, it might be, say, a patient's late. Now, patients are late all the time. Normally, I couldn't give a toss about it. But if I'm in need of a reboot, I might suddenly have this story in my head about, oh my God, they're late. Don't they know how busy I am? Don't they know that if they're late, that means everyone else is late? All of that story starts. It might be something like, I don't know, somebody corrects you or criticizes you, and you suddenly have this whole story goes on. Don't they know that I'm normally, very kind, and now they're criticizing me, and that's not what I normally am. So, as a mum, I remember this thing where the kids would make a big mess. They'd be playing with their toys, they'd make a huge mess. Most of the time, it didn't bother me. Every now and then, they'd make a huge mess, and I'd absolutely just lose my marbles. I would just go bananas. I'd be ranting. I'd be carrying on. And the thing is that they hadn't changed. It was my reaction to what had changed. When we need a reboot, we become much more reactive, much more sensitive, and really it's a very good warning sign. And for me, this is exactly what's happened over the last couple of days for me. I've been very reactive, very, in my and I just know that, oh, okay, Lucy, what's happening for you? You need a little reboot. Because normally small things don't bother me. So for you guys too, if small things, and they may not be. I mean, and when I was mean small, at the time they don't feel small. At the time they feel monumental. That's the whole thing. But it's that scale. What I say, small things, I think, will this thing bother you in a year's time? If the answer is no, then it's probably small. If big, obviously, if something is still going to bother you in a year, well, then it's big, and you can react to that. But reacting to the small things, at the end of the day, the person who suffers doing that is us, because we're stuck in our head reacting to small things. So, lovely. So I would just like to use, that concept as an early warning signal for the idea that you might need a reboot. It's like the internet that doesn't connect properly. Reboot the computer and it works beautifully. Find yourself glitching all over the place? have a little reboot and you'll feel much better. So I would love to hear in the comments what your reboots might look like. It doesn't have to be, I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a holiday, if you're lucky enough to have time off, wonderful. But as I said, it could be just a morning, it could be an hour, it could be just some time reading a book. Could be some time. And I know the bath, everyone gets the bath on for self-care, but it could be a reboot, just some time. Hot showers are a beautiful reboot. That there is something about water and human skin that is very, very nourishing. All right, beautifuls, have the most wonderful day. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. I'll be from my hotel room because I'm flying up to Brisbane today. And I have to go today because I've got a podcast to do in Ireland at something like 7 o'clock. So I have to make sure that I'm well and truly in Brisbane, set up, take my podcasting equipment, and leave a little bit of time for that. So yes, beautiful day, darlings. See ya.